Hi.
Hi.
Hi, it's Lynn from Toro Posh and Joji Quinto.
Quinto from Joji Quinto.
Joji Quinto, medium, paranormal investigator, right?
And yeah,
And all-around psychic.
color on site.
So right now we're doing our first official mini podcast, and we're going to talk about how we as readers work with energy in a reading, how we work with the energy coming through. So we broke it down. So we're going to talk about the clairs and how we use those to feel and sense energy, hear energy, smell, taste, whatever it is, using our senses and our sixth sense. And also how we process that energy, decipher it, and also hand it over to the client as a message, the querent. And also the importance of opening and closing the reading, which entails setting a sacred space around grounded shields, how you close the reading, and also asking permission when you get some things in a reading. You know, obviously if the person's sitting in front of you, you have permission, but sometimes there's things that come through that you might want to feel
Right.
to ask permission. So I'll let you start. So
Okay.
again, how we work with energy in a reading. So first would be like the clairs, like sensing.
That's right. So it's really fun to do this work. One of the things I like about it is that, like, everyone is a different type of person. Everyone, loved ones on the other side, they all have different ways of communicating. Some are visual people when they were alive. Some are more audio. Like, you know, somebody would say to you in a conversation, "I hear what you're saying," versus
More vocal.
more vocal. And so when I get energy is coming to me and messages are coming to me, I may get a tap on the shoulder. I may feel suddenly giddy or sad or feel like crying. I may see an image in my mind. I might have a certain sense of something visual. I might see a structure, like a house.
Yes, that's
or-
true. That does
right?
happen. Yes.
Or a face, or I might even get a text message. And so those are some of the things I get. What about you?
Yeah, and that's like a synchronicity, you know. Well, with me, as far as sensing, you know, I read people, you know, but I also will read like photographs and things like that and get images of that. But for me, it's pretty much the same. I do a lot of like clear knowing. I just know something. It comes into me like a download. I know you said also that you get that screen.
Yes, I have a thing I call a reading screen. Basically, think of it like a little TV monitor that's up in my forehead. And I sometimes will direct spirits to put a message or an image there or a
Like
symbol.
a third eye TV screen.
Like a third eye, yeah. People always say the third eye being in the center, but it could be anything you want. Some people will create a lotus flower and have the flower blossom, and then when it blossoms, there's a message in there, a symbol or something. So, but I like just using, since I'm a computer guy.
Oh yeah, that
in my-
makes sense.
Yeah, I
Relate.
use a little computer monitor visually in my
I
forehead.
could see that. Yeah, definitely.
You know?
Oh, I could see that.
And I'll
too.
get, and I'm going to give an example in a minute.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, I love that with the computer screen because you're a computer guy, and for me, I guess I'm a Sag, so I'm a lot of fire and everything, but I'm also always analytical because I'm Virgo rising, so I get what I call downloads, but I will also get like feelings. I will feel like an ailment of someone, like if somebody
Yes.
had like died from like heart or throat or you know, I will get, or I'll start coughing, or I'll
I'll
get
get
the
that.
word emphysema, or you know, something. And you know, I'm not a reader of doom and gloom, so those are the times, you know, we'll talk about further ahead about when you need to like ask permission to share something.
yeah, and
But for me, it comes all different ways.
I like the download. So you're a little bit of a computer guy there.
Yeah, I guess so. I go Holy Spirit. I call them like spirit
Yeah.
downloads. You
You're a
know.
download. But it's interesting too. I get that too. Often in the reading, I'll tell the client, I'll say, okay, or to the spirit, I'll say, touch the part of my body, or give me the sense of how you passed. Did you have a disease, etc. Like
Yeah,
that.
so you're actually
And-
communicating through your clairs, through
Right.
through that through that senses, through your
Yeah.
5 senses,
Yeah,
by
so
your
if somebody
6th
had like
sense.
lung cancer, I might feel like a tightness in the lungs or something, or like emphysema,
Yeah.
right?
Or an
asthma.
injury, like, or pain in the legs, things like that.
I once did a reading for this woman, and she had lost her favorite partner, friend for years. She was depressed, and I saw a handcuff, and I saw
Yep.
a whole. My head here started to feel like a little hurt here,
Yep.
and I said, "Was she shot in the head?" And
And they're
she
like
was.
flashes. They come through like
Yep,
flashes,
they
right?
flash,
For
and
me
I
as
saw
well.
the whole thing, and so you get those little energy, those little messages coming from us.
And then deciphering it,
Yes.
how we process it and decipher it. Like for me, for a long time, I would get strange things, and it takes a long time, I think, as a reader. No matter how long you're doing it, or it could be the person in front of you, if they're open or closed, or it does go back to asking that permission. But sometimes, when you don't share what you should, like, there's difficult things as a reader that will come through. Not every reading,
Right.
but if you don't share that about that
That's
message,
right.
it'll keep repeating
It'll
for
keep
me.
repeating,
It'll keep
and
repeating for me the whole
Right.
time I'm sitting there. It'll just keep flashing in my head until I say it.
That's right. You can't, and you've told me this. One thing you don't want to do is you don't want to prejudge the information because
No.
it may seem outlandish, but
Yes,
it's usually right.
crazy, and you're
Yeah.
like, "What is this?"
Yeah, and I got a particular example when you're talking about being persistent. Should I tell it?
Yeah, of course.
Well, so I was in an office, a doctor's office, and I was did an impromptu reading for someone who had lost someone. She told me that she had lost her father-in-law, and I said, "Did you lose your brother also?" And I may have that reversed, but she told me one, and then I got the other. And then as soon as she said that about the father-in-law, I saw the name Edward.
Edward.
Edward popped up in an aerial font right
I
in
like
front
the
of my
name
eye.
Edward. It reminds me of Richard Gere from Pretty
Richard-
Woman.
Yes, I love it's a great name. So I saw Edward, and I said, okay. So I filed it away. I kept talking to her. And that's when I asked her again if she had lost someone else, and it was her brother. And then
Sad.
Edward popped up again. I mean, right in my face. So I said, all right, I have to bring this up. It's just it means something. So
Yeah.
I said to her, I got 2 Edwards. I got the name Edward twice. And she said, my father-in-law was Edward, he died, and my brother Edward. So it was the name of both
Edward,
people.
Edward and Edward.
Edward and Edward.
And they were persistent.
Yeah.
And then you're deciphering, and you're putting that through.
And it brought her great comfort.
Yeah, and that's why we do this work, because it does bring people
Yeah.
comfort, And I've suffered a lot of loss in my life, and that's what brought me to this work and to ask my own questions. Losing people from a very young age, and I know also you've lost people too, and bringing comfort, and passing those
It's a big
messages
thing.
along.
Yeah, it brings comfort. And I think as far as, like you were saying earlier, we have to also set the parameters so the reading is done in a positive, loving way.
Yes, exactly. I don't read doom and gloom. I read in the light of the light through the light. I always, go that route. And when we're deciphering the messages, also sometimes I'd like to give an example too about sometimes if a person is more closed. For example, when you're deciphering and you're passing the message across, if someone's sitting like this,
Right.
or if they're like right away, nope. I'm a skeptic myself. I've had EVPs come through and slept like, disembodied voice, electronic voice. That's another podcast. And I was like, no, I have to prove that this is, So I understand being a skeptic. Sure, we're human and logical. But she's sitting like this, no. And this happened recently at an event I did. And I'm like, you're going abroad. I had 2 of wands because I read the tarot, but then I'm also a psychic empath, so I'm getting images and stuff. And I'm like, 100%, I'm getting like Italy, I'm getting like, and she's like, no, I'm not moving there, I'm not going abroad. So I don't know if she didn't know what abroad meant, but I was like,
Right.
So I go, let me pull all the cards up because it's a 15-minute reading, and it was like 8-9 minutes through. Like, let me start again. I'm like, just if you could unfold your arms, right? So I'm trying to get the right messages for her. And to make a long story short, I pulled the same cards came out.
The same ones.
The same cards.
Wow.
I mean, like 5 of the 7 cards I pulled came out. And I'm like,
And you shuffle them, right? I see.
yes,
I see the way
78
you.
cards in the deck. And I used different decks, so I actually picked up a different deck, and the same cards came out. So she goes, oh, I'm going to Italy in 2 weeks.
Yeah, that happens. Yeah, that happens all the time. It's funny too when you get these visuals. I had a really funny one not too long ago. Actually, there was one really funny one where I was in a store, and it was we were doing a ghost investigation, but the owners were there.
81 days till Halloween.
That's right. I can't wait. They were down in the basement, and it was supposed to be where the ghost was. And anyway, I looked at the 2 owners standing there with the rest of the group, and I saw palm trees. And then I saw like Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Fort Lauderdale?
Something like
Right.
And I said, are you guys going to Florida next week or the week after? And they were busted because they were going to sneak out and take a vacation in Florida the following week, and they weren't going to tell any of the employees. So
You busted them.
I busted them. But they said, yeah, we were actually going down to Fort Lauderdale, wherever. And, but I actually saw, like A1A, I saw the road, I saw the palm trees, and I knew it was Florida. And it's really,
And it's just like a knowing, and then if you don't say it,
you have to get it out there.
Yeah, you have to say
Yeah.
it, and not really like
And,
question
some of the
it.
stuff is pretty generic. Like if you get something like a name like Jim or Bob, it's one thing. But if you get something really odd, a really odd
We're
name,
specific, right?
and I've had names that nobody even knew except the 2 people,
Right.
the one that passed and the one that was still here on Earth. So,
And that's really significant because not only are you it's not that you're just passing across that message or that name, but that is
you're kind of validating it. Yeah.
exactly, that's the word, validation. And that's what readings are all about, giving someone validation. Now that could be for someone who crossed over,
Right.
which you have to be, gentle deciphering the information with that. But especially if it was from a murder, or we're not going there, or
Right.
any tragic loss, or just any death in general,
Yeah.
is a loss. And I just feel it's really important to get those messages across because it's
It is.
validation.
And
The
you gotta
spirit's
go with
coming
your heart.
through.
Yeah. And as you said, you don't want to ever give anyone doom and gloom.
No.
I've had
Keep it positive,
keep it
no
positive,
matter what.
even because you know what,
With hope.
only God knows.
Yeah.
When we leave the earth, really.
Exactly.
I mean, there are people who've gone to hospice and they
And we
walk
all
out
have free
and they-
will, and
Yeah.
we
there are people
can't
that they
control
say
the future.
I know a woman who was given terminal cancer,
Mm-hmm.
and they said she had 6 months to live or something. She felt somebody come into her body, a healer. She felt something going on with her. She was praying. She asked God for help, and she went back to the doctor a few months later. He said, "You have no evidence of cancer in your body."
And
So
who
don't-
are we as
we're
readers
not-
to say that
we're
can't
not
happen? We don't
say-
ever.
Never ever say anything.
Because there's always hope, and faith
Right.
is, I have very strong faith,
Yeah, me too.
I'm more of a spiritual person, but I was, raised Catholic, Christian, but I'm very, spiritual. And I'd like to think that, I incorporate different beliefs,
Yeah.
to make me the best reader like I could be.
And spiritualists, I mean, we do believe in God.
Yes,
And so
100%.
it's
Even
not some
Einstein
crazy-
believed in God.
Yeah.
And
so
energy never
whatever
dies.
religion, whatever faith, or if you don't have faith, or whatever your beliefs are,
Even if you don't believe.
we all
Believe in
believe
yourself.
in something. We believe in ourselves. We believe in something greater.
Yep.
Something that the universe, it's for everyone. So that's the key thing. There's
Because
gonna
we're
be-
all energy.
we're all energy.
And energy never
I gotta
dies.
say
It
my
only
favorite
transforms.
expression. That's right. I gotta say my favorite expression. But basically, spirits are a rental car company.
That's exactly right.
Think of that as when you buy that car in 1950 or your
Yeah.
dad's car, eventually it's going to go to the junkyard. You
Yeah.
might need a tune-up here and there, but eventually it's going to end up in some scrap metal somewhere.
Hopefully
But
it's
the-
recycled.
Right. But the driver goes to a new car.
Oh, I have a ghost picture that I got from Jim Thorpe of a ghost that you could clearly see in a car, but that's another
Oh,
story.
that's another.
Yeah.
I can't wait to do that one. But yeah,
So-
and I guess in closing.
Yeah, when we want to say when we open and close a reading, also that's very important, right? Because we're working
right.
with the energy,
Yeah.
and how we do that in a reading as readers. So I'd have to say for me, I say when I open a reading, surround, ground, and shields. Surround me, whatever you believe, but what I believe I say, surround me in the white light of the Holy Spirit, Jesus, and bring forward the best messages for the best healing, for people to know, to lead them, and give them validations, right? In a positive way.
Yeah, and when I do it, I set sacred space, either privately or if it's a group, I'll do it with the group, and then I close it, the space. I
So
always say-
sometimes you'll say it, or sometimes you'll say it
I'll say-
inside.
right.
Yeah,
and
me
then,
too.
And then we always do it with love and light. And
Always love and light. Yeah.
And I think the thing is, one thing I do, which I've learned from other mediums to do, is I always set the model of communication. This is very important. When you do a reading, especially with a group, you want to tell the spirits what you want, how you want to receive it, and who's allowed to join the party.
That's good. I like that.
Right?
Yes.
Because
Who's allowed to join?
yeah, because think about it, they're invisible. We don't know whether they are or who they are. It's like an email. You don't know who the email's from until you actually get it in the inbox. So
Right.
I always say to spirits, we just want family members in this reading, or friends, or close friends, or co-workers. I don't want stray people from the neighborhood that are floating through.
Yeah.
And I'm a clairaudient, so I would prefer you give me messages through
So
my
when
ears.
he hears
the
it.
hearing. So that's what you do. You kind of find a common ground energy-wise
Mm-hmm.
that because they might be audio people, I might be a visual person, and see the trick is our success as readers.
To have that
Is the
communication.
communication is our ability to tune into the energy of the spirit.
Yes.
If you can do that, you're going to be great.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel also people piggyback sometimes too, which is amazing when that happens. You'll have someone come through, and then you'll have them bring someone else through.
It's great. Yeah, that happens.
I
there's
like
a-
that.
there's
It
like a
doesn't
pecking
always
order.
happen, but I
No.
like it.
It's usually like they start out, maybe you have like the scout
Yeah.
goes out and then says, oh, let's
They're
see
like,
if we
you
can-"
go first,
And then all of a sudden, all the family members show up.
Yes, and I keep a piece of paper and I write. So ever since, even when I first started doing psychic development and reading with my mentor back in 2008, I always would write down if I was doing psychometry reading, and she would yell at me. She's like, just say it. I'm like, no, I have to write it because I'm a
Yeah,
writer,
I like writing. I
Yeah, I
sketch
like it.
things. I do this thing. Actually, I do this interesting thing. No one else does this. I like Scrabble. I like playing.
Oh
Scrabble,
yeah, I
right?
like that. Yeah, you
Yeah.
do the Scrabble box.
I do the Scrabble box. What I do, think of it as reading a crystal ball or a tarot or tea leaves.
like the symbolism, but the letters.
Right. What I do is I draw the boxes of the person. I want to get the person's name. Let's say I'll draw 5 boxes. And then I look at the boxes, and in my mind, I want the spirits to put the letters. I want to see the letters in each of the boxes.
It's like Wheel of Fortune almost.
Like Wheel of Fortune, exactly. And it works. It works many times. It works pretty good.
Yeah, I like that. I've never heard of anyone
have to
doing
try
that,
it.
and
One
I
day
watched
we'll-
him in action in a mediumship circle do it, and it actually was pretty cool. I
Yeah,
really
it's
liked
fun.
it. I liked it.
But again, it goes back to we're talking about is the energy. It's all about energy. It's all about getting on the same page with the spirits, so that they know how to tell us the message and we know how to interpret it. Does that make sense?
Yes, and for me, when I'm sitting across from the person, I feel a lot, and I get a lot
Yeah.
of feelings from my solar plexus here, your intuition, right? Then I get the downloads, like they're not thoughts; they just come in. But I have to be sitting across from the person, when I'm reading them, or at a certain angle like this, because then I'm for some reason that's how I'm built, I'm connecting to their energy, like a cord almost, And for me, like, when I'm closing, it's just important as when we're opening the reading. So when I'm closing, I want to announce to the person, okay, I'm going to close the reading. I usually, because I use tarot cards, I use oracle decks, and I layer the readings with different decks, whatever I'm drawn to. And I'll usually close with the oracle card, And it's crazy how there's such a synchronicity that that oracle card will
match.
relate to like
I know, it's
5 of the
incredible.
cards
I
and
saw
pull
that
it
earlier
together,
today.
right?
Yeah.
And I love that. But I feel like it's important to close the reading because when I don't, here's an example. I went to a house, I read someone who had somebody passed in the house. They didn't find the person, unfortunately, for like 2 days, and it was very sad. And I kept feeling him in the backyard, and his energy became so strong. This is the first time this happened to me. I was driving home, and I actually, out loud in the car, said, "You need to leave. You can't come home with me. If they want further messages, to contact them." I said out loud, if I get anything else, I'll text her and tell her. And I did the next day. I got like 2 other things. But it's important to close the reading. As readers, we need to protect our energy and not bring anything,
Right.
home with
and
us.
I would just like to say one last thing too is we always thank the spirits for coming through.
Yes, I do
And-
that internally.
Right, we do that, yeah, and just and then I also we always say, can I give you, like, let's say a mother's passed or a spouse's passed, we always say, can I give you that person's love? Can I give you
Yes.
their love through? Give it to you.
So it's like honoring
It's
the
honoring.
querent, the client, and again having that permission,
Right.
because it's sacred, right? It is a sacred space, It really, really is.
Good.
And then
Really well.
yeah, it does. And I am realizing the importance when closing readings, though. It's like the Ouija board when you don't close it, right? I don't use Ouija, but we both have before in the past. I would never use them
in our wild
again.
days. Yeah.
Yeah, in the beginning, like before I was a reader, I used it, and then everybody would
I'm
be
t-
afraid to
that's
be
a-
in my bedroom because
that's
my
a-
dad passed, and
Yeah.
they thought he was hanging around. He didn't like them in my room.
They're too slow. I find them too slow.
Yeah.
Because by the time I spell out the letters, I've already got the whole name.
Yeah, because you feel it.
Yeah.
But that's what everybody, I think, starts out with, right? You're curious when you're
Yeah.
younger. But
Yeah, I think it's just the Ouija. That's a whole other discussion.
a whole other
But-
discussion. We have
but I-
stories for that, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And
But,
then during the reading, we covered asking
We did,
permission,
yeah.
okay? So I think we covered everything about how we work with the energy through a reading. And I will have to say, a lot of times after doing a reading, like if I'm reading, I set a limit. If I'm doing an event, it's 4 hours, maybe 4.5 straight. That's it. I will not read longer than that because I have to protect my own energy. And I also will cleanse my, cards after, whether it's like, sage, or sage, whatever it is. And whatever crystals I used, I'll put in the moon when, I feel. But I also feel that we're very blessed to do this work, and I honor it. I feel like we all have the ability to do this.
Yes.
It's in our DNA. It's just whether you
choose to do it.
choose
or
to do
is
it,
it something that
right.
that's your gift to give to others? If you don't, it's fine.
Yeah.
And it's all right to receive the gift. I've had readings.
Yes,
I've
I
been-
get readings like twice a year.
Yeah, and they're right on, and they're very helpful.
And the important thing
You're
is
not
to
al-
be open.
Yes, and you're not alone. Just I'd like to close on that.
Yes, definitely.
Your loved ones are there all the time.
Yes, always. They're just with you in a much subtler form where they can hear you when you speak to them. And I believe this, not just saying it, it's because I've experienced it myself. As a human, as a loved one, as a person who's lost people.
Yeah, we should talk about the signs some next.
Yeah, the next time, the signs. We're going to talk about the signs.
Messages, yeah.
So that's it. I think,
Yeah, we're done.
we're done.
Good.
And many blessings
That's our
to you,
message
love
for
and
the day.
light. Yeah, that's our message, our first podcast. So come around come back because we're probably going to end up going around to some spooky places also to do some mini podcasts.
Oh, Halloween's coming. around.
Halloween's coming, I think 81 or 80 days away. So that's it. Namaste. I pray you find your way.
Have a great day.
See you next time.